Okay, here's another example. This is from a correspondence game I played in 1998, and I had black. Again, this series on the 2 is not best, but this was in the early days of my understanding of progressive chess. And white played this series, which immediately you could see it doesn't get checkmated. The knight on h3 defends f2, so white's not getting checkmated, but it's completely ignoring the material race. So it's no surprise that that black can now win material. So I mentioned earlier that a queen can often be a bowling ball. So in this position, queen h4, queen takes h3, queen takes g2, queen takes h1, and I'm now up 7 pieces to 5 at the end of my 4, and being up 2 pieces at the end of the 4 is amazing. However, I am making it easy for him to take my queen. So on this 5, he played king e2, queen takes h1, bishop a3, bishop takes f8, bishop a3, which is kind of an unusual move, but he's trying to threaten to checkmate me. So notice in this position he's up a queen, but if you look at the actual piece count, this is what I call the principle of quantity, which says sometimes it's better to just eat more pieces and not worry so much about the material count, assuming you can dodge mate. So in this particular case, it's actually still only 5 pieces to 5, even though he ate my queen. We're only even in material. And at this point, black has an extremely strong 6, so if you want to pause the video and try to solve it, and then I'll show it. Okay, so the idea based on this principle of quantity is a6, a takes b5, rook takes a3, rook takes a2, rook takes a1, king e7. What's so amazing about this position is that white has 7 moves with his queen, and yet there's absolutely no way for him to deliver checkmate. Not only that, it's very hard for him to do anything where he can take any black piece. Now, even if he takes everything here, which he did, black still has promotable pawns, and white, because he's been reduced to only 2 pieces, it's relatively easy to finish him off. This shows that a queen is really no more powerful than any other piece when it comes time for her to be captured. In other words, she's very powerful on her own series, but on the opponent's series, she's just one piece that has to be captured. So white here played natural knight c3, queen takes a1, queen a8, queen takes b8, queen takes c8, queen takes h8, knight d5 check. And although this looks pretty good, this game will illustrate that black with promotable pawns and a knight is easily winning. One move. He has 10 moves here. 8 moves there. King d6, c6, c takes d5, d takes e4, f6, knight f7, knight takes h8, and now the key move, moving the h-pawn, h6. And we can see that this is a genuine knockout. White has nothing he can do. He has no pawns that are promotable. He has no way into the black position, because even if he could get his king h5, he can't play king g6 or king f7, so he resigned in this position. Moving on, let's look at another example from the 1996 championship, which was won by Fred Galvin, who has the black pieces against Norbert Geisler. d4, c5, c takes d4. e4, e5. This is the right idea, very strong, but the third move, bishop d3, is not very good because it does nothing about black's main threat, which is e6, queen g5, queen c1, queen d1. We can see that black has ended his series two pieces up, although one of them will be readily recaptured. King takes d1, knight f3, knight takes d4, knight takes e6, knight takes f8. The piece count at the end of white's 5 is only 5 to 5. He does have a slight advantage because black's king is stuck in the center, and his development is somewhat deterred here. But still, material is what's most important, and black is already doing very well. So he played king takes f8, king e7, knight c6, knight takes e5, knight takes d3, and now with one move left, he played the very strong knight takes b2 check. Often when you just have one move left and you're trying to decide what to do, if you can deliver check, it's a good idea, because the other side has to respond, and you essentially trade one move of your series for one move of their series, which kind of slows it down and gives them fewer moves. So in this case, white played king d2, h4, h5, h6, h takes g7, g takes h8 queen, queen e5 check. And here we see an example where instead of the principle of quantity, it's more about the principle of quality here. White has a queen and 2 rooks, which are obviously very dangerous. And so black is going to have to really play well and find a good series to be able to survive this, because he has to deal with white having a rook, or he has 2 rooks and a queen he has to get rid of in 8 moves, or white will have one of those pieces on the die. In addition, he has to avoid checkmate. So king d8, d6, d takes e5. That gets rid of the queen in 3 moves. And now he played bishop h3, bishop takes g2, bishop takes h1. And now he has 2 moves left, and he has to deal with checkmate, so he played king d7 or rook b8. Now, the nice thing about this move, rook b8, is it stops the a-pawn from promoting. This is a very common idea, to stick something on the promoting square. And so white has no promotable pawns, and black's pieces are really scattered to the 4 corners. All he needs to be able to win this game is to have a knight remaining on, and enough pawns left to win, and have a knight on the 10. And it's kind of hard to see how white is going to eat all the pieces and stop a pawn from promoting. So one of the problems is you start looking at series like knight a3, c4 takes b2, and then rook takes h1, h7, h8, g8, b8. One of the problems with this is if you leave the knight on b2, then black can just promote through it with his a-pawn. So it's not so easy. It seems like white should be winning when you first look at it, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case. So the series that Geisler tried was knight c3, knight b5, knight takes a7, rook takes h1, rook takes h7. It's very important to get rid of that h-pawn. Rook h8, rook takes g8, rook takes b8, rook takes b7, check. And to the uninitiated, it may look like white is doing okay because black only has 2 pawns and a knight left. But in fact, assuming he can get these pieces off, which he can, he has to approach them kind of the long way because he can't come through c6. But once he just goes king d6, get out of check, knight d3, knight takes f2, knight d3, knight c5, knight takes b7. He now has 4 moves left, knight a5, knight c6, knight takes a7, king d5, which stops the c-pawn from moving past c4. And that's his 10 moves, and we can see that white is effectively knocked out. Has only 2 pawns. There's really nothing he can do here. Even though he has 11 moves, what can he really do? I mean, suppose he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for example, takes the pawn on f7. Well, now he can't stop the e-pawn. He could play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and just come back to e2. But then black on his 12 will just eat both of these 2 pawns, and then he will win with the king and 2 connected passed pawns, which is pretty easy to see how you checkmate with those. You just put them on the same rank and check the king and drive him back. So in fact, in the game, Geisler played king c3, king b4, king a5, king a6, king a7, king a6, king b, king a5, king b4, king c3, king d3, c3. So white's idea here is by putting the king on d3. The only piece that can actually deliver a checkmate by itself is the queen, and here a queen would deliver check. However, that's still sufficient to win. But black for some reason, played this f5, f4, king c5, king b5, king a4, king a3, king takes a2, king a3, king a4, king b5, king c5, king d5. I call that maneuver the frog tongue, where because it's like a frog's tongue coming out, so just getting something and then zipping right back. In an in-game, you can often do this given enough moves. One side could, if a piece is undefeated, can just walk his king all the way over, take it, and then walk all the way back. Essentially, repeating the same position, but just like lifting a piece and removing it from the board. And here it's obvious that white is getting queened on and mated.